Hello, my name's Anne, and I'm with Gareth.
Hello?
Hi, and we are volunteers at Compass Recovery College, and we're just going to sit down today and have a bit of a chat about sleep because sleep and issues around sleep are really quite common, and whether or not you live with sort of mental health difficulties. And given that everything's going on in the world at the moment, it's something that I think a lot of people are beginning to realise might be a bit difficult. So what we're going to do, we're going to have a bit of a chat about how it's affecting us at the moment, and we're going to just chat through some of the things that we find helpful and have worked for us in the past. Right? So, Gareth, right, how are you doing? How are you sleeping at the moment? And
It's got better in the last week.
mhm,
The first few weeks of lockdown, I was having terrible trouble. Um, I couldn't get to sleep, and I would wake up every hour or so,
mhm,
and I was waking up really tired in the morning.
yeah,
But it has got better recently,
yeah.
and I've been
So,
having very vivid dreams as well.
yeah, I must admit I have as well. I think that's something that's lots of people have kind of come up with as
Yeah.
well. Like so, and how has that been different from your experiences of sleep with in the past?
Well, I've struggled with sleep for years and years, uh, eh, on and off.
Hmm.
Uh, it's possibly, I mean, nobody's getting much exercise at the moment, so you're not wearing your body out.
Yeah.
You're not getting tired,
Hmm. Hmm.
and so when you come to go to bed, you're still your mind's still going and racing, and
Yeah. So is it been mostly around like getting to sleep that you've kind of had problems, or?
yeah, I'd sort of toss and turn until 2 or 3 in the morning, and
Yeah.
yeah, my mind would be racing away,
Mhm.
and once I got to sleep, I'd wake up at 3 and 4 and 5 and 6.
Yeah, no, that sounds quite similar to like um, what what was happening to me actually as well. I mean, certainly at the beginning of the lockdown, I think similar sort of problems. You kind of there's so much uncertainty going on. You don't really know kind of like what you know you don't know what sort of decisions to make for the best, and so many things that you really have to kind of think about. That it was getting quite it was difficult to get to sleep because you go to bed tossing and turning. Um, and then, and for me, generally when my anxiety levels are quite high, that's what happens. It's kind of like you just find it difficult to go to sleep, and you're not. I mean, I wasn't tired either, or I would be physically tired, but not just like you say, not being able to turn your brain off.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, and again, similar to you, it's kind of like once I got to sleep, because sometimes what would happen is, if you've had several days of being really quite anxious, you're exhausted, right? So I would actually go to bed and go to sleep quite easily. But then wake up at 3 in the morning, and then you're either awake for you can't get back to sleep, or
yeah.
you're back to sleep and then you're awake again at like 5:30, and so yeah, and then you wake up and you're just not refreshed at all. But yeah, and yeah, equally with the strange dreams as well, I think.
Yeah.
but but yeah, so and it has got better, like you say. I think as probably we've all adjusted a bit to this new normal and got used to things, it's kind of the going to sleep has got better. The waking up early still kind of happens, I think. But yeah. So, what have you been doing anything to try and sort of cope with this, or have you found anything particularly useful when you've
I
been doing
found um, before I go to bed, instead of going straight from watching TV or using the computer
that? Uh-huh.
or using my phone, I'll take I'll finish that about an hour before I want to go to sleep.
Hmm.
Then I'll go to bed and listen to a podcast or the radio or just quietly people talking on
Hmm.
on whatever. And I find that really helps sort of switch my brain off.
Yeah. Mhm.
So I listen to that for an hour and then turn it off. Then I finally get to sleep.
Yeah. Right. So it sounds like having that routine is quite important as well.
yeah. I mean, I have to do that every night as
Mhm.
well. If
Yeah.
I don't do it, then I'm still struggling.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And what about sort of like, if you do wake up in the middle of the night or anything, is there anything you kind of do around that, or?
If I wake up and I can't get back to sleep, then the best thing to do I've found is to actually get up rather than sort of lay there and just think, oh, I can't sleep.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
is to get up and do something.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
That's me too. Actually, I find that, yeah, quite useful. So I kind of have a thing where, and this is something I might do if I'm trying to get to sleep as well, is I kind of have a set time. So if it's like, if I've been awake for like an hour or 45 minutes or an hour, I'll just like, hey, this is not going to happen. I'm going to get out of bed and, yeah, or maybe go and do something different, or even maybe go to a different room, or, um, until my, kind of felt a bit more tired, really, I suppose. Yeah.
yeah, and also move the clock somewhere you can't see it, so you're not constantly looking at the clock.
Yeah, that's a good tip, isn't it? Yeah, yeah. Because yeah, there's nothing worse than sort of lying there and looking at it and thinking it's only 20 minutes since I last looked at the clock. Yeah. So yeah, no, that's quite a good trick, really, isn't that? I think. Yeah. So, um, and are these sort of techniques you've kind of learned, you just started doing, or are they things you put in over time, or?
I've built it up over time, really. I mean, I've always I've listened to podcasts for a few years, but only recently have I started listening to them at last thing at night.
Uh-huh.
Because I very rarely do I make it to the end of a podcast. Um, but particularly useful is to not have really exciting ones or kind of
Yeah,
spooky ones, or
yeah, yeah,
quite boring ones are quite helpful.
yeah. No, I find that because I tend to read actually before I go to bed, and I think a key thing. I mean, I'm not sure I have quite the same routine as you do, but one thing I definitely do is try and disconnect from my screens, kind of
Yeah,
before I go to bed, because I'm terrible for, like, you know getting a bit bored, flipping the laptop open at 9:30, and then maybe you're on reading the news or you're on social media, and either your brain starts getting engaged, and then maybe something annoys you, or and I mean, you know what it's like when you get on the internet, you're just going click click click, and then suddenly it's 11:30, and yeah, and so there's kind of that, and also the whole thing about screens just not being very good in terms of like the light that they emit
mm,
as well. I mean, I do think there's definitely something in that. So I always try and kind of shut my laptop down, you know, sort of a good hour or so before I'm going to bed, and make sure I leave it. I don't take it into the bedroom, because that's a key thing for me. So I don't take it into the bedroom, and I actually don't take my phone into the bedroom as well. And that's mainly because I've got a landline. But I know a lot of people, I think that would be quite a hard thing to do. And I must admit, I don't always manage it. So sometimes I do take my laptop and I'm sat in bed on my laptop. But then if it kind of happens, I kind of think, okay, didn't work tonight, back tomorrow, trying to sort of like, leave the laptop, step away from the laptop before you go to bed, really. But, and I think, yeah, you're kind of right in that the more you do it, the more you kind of get into a routine, the
yeah,
easier it becomes. But I think, yeah, I mean, for me, going to bed with a book is much better than going to bed with my laptop, I think. And yeah, you're completely right. I mean, you you want it to be kind of like engaging and relaxing, but not really kind of something you get really, really engrossed in. Because I have done the other thing of sat up till 2 in the morning with my book, thinking I just want to read this. So that's not so good. But yeah, and I've had the same thing. You think I'm just going to read this chapter, and you get halfway through and you think I'm going to fall asleep here. So yeah,
yeah,
but, yeah. So yeah, it sounds like routine is a really kind of key thing when it comes to um, sleeping sleeping well, I think. Yeah,
yes, yeah,
yeah. I think your brain kind of appreciates it as well, because it kind of knows knows what's coming, knows what's happening, you know. So, um, what about other things? Any other things like lifestyle stuff or anything you find helpful? Or
I find not drinking coffee after about midday
yeah,
kind of cut out the caffeine. So
yeah,
that includes things like Coke, uh, what else? Tea, caffeine, anything with caffeine in it, really.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. Did you find that hard to do at first?
yeah. I mean, I used to drink coffee all day, and then I'd wonder why I couldn't sleep. I'd be on black coffee until 6 o'clock, and
Oh,
then up all night wondering why I couldn't get to sleep.
yeah. Uh, did you go cold turkey or did you kind of wean yourself off that?
I think I weaned myself down to sort of 2 cups in the morning. I now have 2 really strong cups first thing in the morning,
Yeah.
and
Mm.
that's it.
Uh-huh.
Then it's water and juice,
Wow, that's really good. Yeah.
and I found hot chocolate in the evening, sort of a glass of hot chocolate.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. Mm.
Really good.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I was brought up in a household where they always had like a milky drink to go to bed. But I can't, for me, it's too much for me. It kind of makes me feel a bit sick. So, um, yeah, I just have, I actually have tea before I go, but like, you know, with like low levels of caffeine in it or something.
Right.
And I'm like the same with you, kind of try and cut out the coffee. Um, but yeah, I like. I think for me, I hate to say it, but exercise definitely helps. I think,
Yeah.
and it not so much not in like really vigorous exercise, but just literally getting outdoors, actually getting outside, maybe going for a walk or something, and moving and stretching your legs and stuff like that. And I think if I've been cooped up indoors all day, then that probably means it's going to be a bit more difficult to get to sleep and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, it is quite tricky at the moment because of the circumstances,
Yeah, yeah,
but even just walking around the block
yeah, yeah,
once a day,
yeah. Getting a bit of sunshine, I think, as well. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, cool. So, I mean, given that it's sleep is something that maybe people are finding difficult at the moment. I mean, what about how do you feel it impacts you if you don't have a great night's sleep? I mean, sort of like,
I can feel my mood drop
yeah,
very, very quickly,
mhm,
get very anxious, get very kind of paranoid.
yeah,
I mean, all everything flares up more
yeah,
than it used
yeah.
to.
And then I suppose because yeah, I mean, I find it harder to not get anxious about things, and I guess you get that circular thing, don't you, where kind of like sleep impacts your mental health, and then mental health kind of also impacts like how you can sort of manage your sleep and stuff. So I don't know, maybe. I guess I don't know what it's like for you, but maybe for me, I think when I do have a couple of things that um, I know really help, sort of hanging on to them is quite kind of important, I think. Um, yeah. And what about just day to day function? Sort of like, is there anything you do to kind of like, if you've had a particularly bad night's sleep and you know that you're going to be tired and you're going to not be great the next day? Is there anything you kind of change to sort of manage that, or
I think, I mean, the main thing is I find is don't go to sleep in the afternoon or something. Or you might feel a bit tired and you think, well, I'll just have an hour's sleep in the afternoon.
yeah,
If you do that, then that's your routine gets messed up.
yeah, and it's kind of more difficult to get to sleep at night.
It's kind of soldier on until the evening, and then maybe go to bed an hour earlier rather
Yeah.
than sleep in the afternoon.
Yeah, and I find the good thing about that, the benefit of doing that is that you do actually feel tired, when you go to bed, and then it's kind of easier, to go to sleep. Then I think, yeah, yeah. I mean, I find that my brain gets a bit slower if I've had a lot of, if not had a great night's sleep. So certainly, I'll try not to be making any really important decisions or
Yeah,
anything. Um, or if I do, if I do, am doing anything that needs me to concentrate or needs me to kind of make decisions, then I'll be really mindful of the fact that I'm not probably in the best frame of mind to do it. So maybe I'll be sort of checking stuff out with other people, or I'll sort of like if I've got something I need to concentrate on, I'll try and do it at the time of day when I'm most likely to be alert. Which I think for me is probably in the afternoon. Actually, I'm probably worse in the morning and better after I've got going. Right, you know. But yeah, and just being really careful if I'm doing, like if I'm driving or anything like that, just being aware that, you know, either trying not to drive unless I really have to, but if I am, then, you know, being kind of mindful that, yeah, again, you know, not slept well. I mean, I do kind of have a bit of a limit. So, you know, if I've slept really badly, then I will really try not to get in the car unless, you know, because I'm kind of aware that it's just, you know, not a great thing to do really. But sometimes, you know, yeah, cool. Right. So, I think just from chatting, I think it sounds like even though you know even if you do find sleep a bit difficult, there are kind of things people can do. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, and I mean the annoying thing is they sound really awkward and oh I don't want to do that, but they do work.
Yeah.
Even if you don't do them all at one time, gradually build them into your routine.
Yeah.
But they do definitely work.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really true. Really true. So there is hope there, definitely.
Yeah.